Hey guys, Kyle Bradshaw here with Michael Lindsay, and today we're going to be talking about the details of the Yamaha YZ450F. Michael's been on this bike for about a month now, and he's going to give us really what the difference is between the 2020 and the 2019 model to see if that's an upgrade that you want to do. Now, Michael, what are some of the biggest things you noticed for this year's model?
So visually looking at the bike, a lot of people might not see a difference. So they entered what I would call a new generation in 2018. It kind of has this general layout and look. The 20 is a mid-generation change for Yamaha. They typically do it in their year 3 or 4 of a cycle of bike where they go through and make a pretty big overhaul but don't change the look of the bike. In this case, there's actually a massive amount of frame changes. Geometry-wise, it really hasn't changed, but it's all about the flex characteristic. It's all about how it applies energy to each end, rider comfort, how stable it feels, how precise it feels. It's all just the way they've changed spar thicknesses, ribbing, everything like that. The other big change is to the engine itself. They went to an all-new cylinder head casting. While a lot of manufacturers have been jumping into the finger follower design, you might look at the head and think at first it still is a cam over bucket motor, but it's a much tighter, compact layout. They are really trying hard because they, of course, have the reverse cylinder head. The exhaust is coming out the rear. The intake is in the front. They're trying to decrease the angle at which everything comes out of the combustion chamber, because normally valves open, your air, fuel, all your stuff's going up, whether it's coming in or going out, it's trying to go up and turn. They're trying to bring the exhaust angle, intake angle as steep as possible. Everything's just a really straight shot. So this head has pushed that even farther than what they've already had. They've just tried to bring everything in a little bit tighter, which makes for an overall power gain. Definitely their focus is on having this very torquey, easy to ride motor, and it's very deceiving. We ran into it as we got into Shootout this year. Some guys would jump on some of the bikes that have a lot more of a harsh initial response, more of a bark, and they get on the Yamaha and they tell me, first lap out, I didn't think the Yamaha was that fast. And then I realized that when I started overshooting everything, that it's actually really fast. It's just the way it puts down the power. Yeah, I joke, it feels like a little mini tractor. It puts down this really down low torque, really good roll on. It still snaps the life easy. You can roll up to a jump last minute and just give it that little, and it'll leap over stuff, but it drives forward really well. It doesn't try to come out from under you as much as it pushes forward when you give it those little motions of throttle. Like I said, with cylinder head gains, there's a little bit of top end gain, but surprisingly, most of it was still low to mid. They played a lot with their mapping. Once again, they take all this power and make it extremely rideable. Something the Yamaha really has going for it is kind of doesn't matter, once again, if you're a short shifter, if you rev the bike out, there's a good amount of power everywhere, and you don't even have to be that precise with your shifting. Yamaha does a really great job on a lot of their models, I think, of having very even gaps between gears. So second to third, going into fourth, even to fifth, each one of those gaps is pretty even, where some bikes you jump on, you go, oh, it pulls really far in second, but third to fourth feels kind of short. The Yamaha's just got these nice even spreads, and when you have that, it makes it a lot easier to, I guess, just not thinking about shifting as much. You can kind of make mistakes and be up a gear, down a gear. It's got so much power all over. It's such even spread. It makes it, you don't have to think about that kind of stuff as much. And when you have that much power everywhere but that usable, you can concentrate more on your corner entry, on your corner exit, the way you're floating over the bumps. You just don't have to think as much about those shifting points. It kind of eliminates one thing from what your brain's trying to process while you're on the bike.
That's pretty incredible. Now, Yamaha has one of the most user-adaptable motors or mapping on the market. You've got an app on your phone that you can change a bunch of things. Let's talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Honestly, I guess I'm spoiled. I haven't had to play with it too much, but it is super fun to mess with. So a lot of the OEMs have some kind of aftermarket tool or software you need for your laptop you have to buy and plug in. You have to have the bike on, and it's just so many data points. It's just hard to wrap your head around. The Yamaha is a very simple app, and the app's got a lot of other great things in it. It tells you how many hours are on the bike. You can put in little service intervals for it to ping you when you've put 8 hours on the bike and you change the oil, how long it's been since you did top end. You can put notes in it. But then, mapping-wise, they have a very simple grid for fuel and ECU. It's got 4 data points for RPM and then throttle position. You can kind of change all that around. And the cool part is it's something to not be afraid of messing with. It's as simple as tweaking on your suspension. As long as you know where your base point was, there's no problem in going back. It's all zeros is zero. You can go plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 4, and they've designed the app to still be safe. You can basically go +4 on everything, -4 on every position, and you can't hurt the bike. It may not run that great, but you can't hurt the bike. So it's just a fun tool to break out because, once again, the motor already has so much output. If you still think it's too much down low, you can tweak it back. You can add some fuel to and dent up the feel of it. If you want sharper response, you can lean it out a bit and get more of a really crisp hit out of the bottom. You can add some fuel up top to try to make it feel like it tapers out farther. You can take it away to make it rev through the end quicker. So it just, allows you to do a lot with what's there. And they even also have 2 map switches now on the 450. When this light up here is off, it's in map base 1. When it's on, it's in map 2, and you can assign different maps those. Unlike some of the bikes where you have to stop and hold the buttons, this one you can click. I can go over a jump at 50 miles an hour and hit this in the air, and it automatically switches the map at a blink of an eye. So you don't have to stop. So that's the other fun part, is if you're trying to learn how to build the maps on the phone, leave the base one, build something really weird on the other one, and just mid-lap press the button. And I kind of say it's the same as suspension. If you want to learn how to play with ECU, just go in and start making big changes. If you make little changes and you really don't know what you're looking for, you'll probably fake yourself into thinking you know what it did, where if you go in and make a big change, it'll be really obvious when you ride the bike. And it gives you that info and that knowledge to make the bike better suited to you. Always big changes. Like I said, I recommend that whether it's suspension. Like if you don't know a lot about suspension, you want to learn, just simply click in your fork all the way, count how many clicks that was, set it back. So if you're at 10 clicks out on your compression or your rebound, but you really don't know what to do, make a big change. Go 4 clicks, then you'll know what it did, and then you can back up from there, because your guys, I made 1 click and it was a big difference. If you know what you're doing, you can sense those, but when you're still learning at first, make big changes. The worst thing you can do, as long as you know where you came from, you can always go back.
Now, differences between 2019 and 20. If you had an opportunity to purchase either one for a better value than the other, what would you choose?
This one's hard because I'm always about a good value. All the good current 450s are good. Once again, 19 is going to be on a good rebate, so that's an option. What the 20 does better, once again, the motor is broader. The chassis, I think what I really value is more of like an intermediate to higher level rider. Somebody that's more aggressive might appreciate this, because the Yamaha has always been known for being really comfortable, really soft, and that's a combination of their suspension settings and their chassis flex. And they've always had a very comfortable chassis. A big thing they did with this one is they even went for more comfort in the chassis, but more precision at each end. And they've gone to a little bit stiffer suspension settings. Like 2 years ago when this generation bike came out, the 18, I labeled it as a really good vet bike. It was almost like a couch when you rode it, but it was almost so soft that it always wallowed around. Basically, you're entering a corner and it was super comfortable. You could charge through just nasty looking sections, but when you got to the rut, the bike was still moving through the stroke. It's wallowing around. It hasn't settled yet. So it makes it hard then to force it into a corner, because when the bike's always moving, it makes it feel heavy because it's constantly jarring your body back and forth and you're using energy to kind of stay centered on the bike. The 19 was a bit better for that. This one's even better for that. They've ran a much stiffer setting, so the bike rides higher in the stroke. It feels a lot more aggressive, a lot more planted and stable, but at the same time, they haven't given up much comfort because they also were able to adapt quite a bit of that for the chassis. Just Joe Blow Weekend Warrior, man, the 19's got a lot of the great features. It has the app as well. The motor is still very broad. If you're kind of the racer guy out there, there's a lot of things stock about the setup on this that are definitely worth it. They'll make more of a difference for you out on the track.
There you go, guys. That's the difference. The main striking differences between the 2019 and 2020 Yamaha YZ450F. If you're curious to learn more about this bike and how it did in Michael's Shootout, please take a look at our playlist of that Shootout, or jump over to Michael's YouTube channel. He's got all kinds of content over there. If you like this video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you want more action like this coming directly to your inbox, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be part of the notification squad. I'm Kyle. This is Michael. Till next time, take care and ride safe out there.